Okay, so the first question is, should people who work for the government be allowed to go on strike? So that means if you don't like what your boss is saying, you can protest by not showing up for work. Should you be allowed to do that or not?
No.
Should people who work for the government be paid more or less than what they're being paid now?
More.
A lot more or a little bit more?
A little bit.
Private schools, where you go, should they get money from the government or no?
Yes.
You know what gay people are, right? Boys who like boys or girls who like girls.
Yeah.
Should they be allowed to have clubs in school?
Yes.
Yes. Should people who don't have a job and maybe they lost their job and they're having a hard time finding a job, should they get more money or less money from the government to help them until they can find a job?
More money.
Like a lot more or a little bit more?
I would say half more.
So the First Nations have lands all over, right? And what if the government wants to build a pipeline through First Nations land? Should the government be allowed to build an oil pipeline through First Nations land?
No.
So should First Nations people be allowed to say what happens on their land?
Yes.
Should the government of Alberta continue to ask the government of America to build a pipeline down to Texas?
No.
Should gas companies and oil companies who dig up the ground and get oil, should they pay the government more money or less money for that right?
More money.
Do you think in Alberta we spend too much time digging up oil? Should we try to find other ways to make money for the province?
Yes.
In Alberta, you know what tax is? So the government takes a portion of your money. So when Daddy works, they take 10% of my money. And they use it to build roads and build schools, pay for hospitals and all that sort of thing. So should everybody in Alberta be taxed at the same rate? Or should people who make a lot of money pay more money?
The people that have more money has to pay more.
Yeah? Why?
Because then everybody's money might get imbalanced.
So do you know what fracking is? It's where they put a pipe under the ground and then they use water to separate the oil from the sand and the natural gas, and then they pump that up. And some people think it disturbs the land too much, maybe causes earthquakes or damages water, but it's a real easy way for companies to get oil out of the sand. So do you think fracking should be allowed? Should we be allowed to do more of it or less?
Less. I don't want that at all to get more
damage. Do you think that a lot of damage is done to the environment by the oil companies?
Yes.
And do you think they say the right amount or they say that there's too much?
Too much. Because then if it explodes, then animals and the environment might get not good. So let's say if we were inside the 1980s, you wanted to go get an otter in the ocean, try and kill it, you would get an otter full of oil.
Wow. In the 80s. In the 80s that happened. So should we do work so that we don't put more greenhouse gas in the air? You know what greenhouse gas is, pollution in the air. So should we pollute less or pollute more?
Less.
Okay, are you ready to see your results? You need to vote for the Alberta Party or the Liberal Party. Your politics are almost pretty much the same as Daddy's, except you have a broader influence in social stuff. So you said we should vote for the Alberta Party, Zachary. So that's who we'll vote for?
Yep.
Okay.